Rain hammered the empty parking lot like a verdict being passed, and the man standing under the flickering streetlight felt his life balancing on a thin, trembling edge. His jacket was soaked, his phone battery was dying, and his boss lay slumped against the driver's door of her luxury car, breath heavy with alcohol and mistakes that could ruin them both. In that moment, he wasn't just a tired employee anymore. He was a single father choosing between fear and conscience, between walking away and doing what was right when no one was watching. Before this story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of doing the right thing, please take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to channel name. Your support helps. These stories reach hearts that need them. He had never imagined his life would shrink to nights like this, where survival felt like a daily negotiation with fate. Years earlier, he had been someone else entirely, a man with plans, laughter, and a future that felt wide open. Then loss arrived without warning, leaving him alone with a small child and a silence that never truly lifted. Being a single dad meant learning how to be strong, even when exhaustion carved deep lines into his bones. It meant early mornings packing lunches, late nights washing dishes, and a constant gnawing fear that one wrong step could cost him everything. The job he had now wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills, kept the lights on, and gave his child a sense of normalcy he was desperate to protect. His boss was known throughout the company as sharp, distant, and untouchable. She moved through meetings like a storm wrapped in designer clothes, respected and feared in equal measure. No one talked about her personal life because no one knew it, and no one dared to ask. To him, she had always been polite but cold, a woman who measured people by performance alone. Tonight, seeing her like this felt unreal, like discovering a crack in a statue you believed was carved from solid stone. He could have walked away. That thought echoed louder than the rain. One anonymous call, one turned back, and the problem would solve itself. She had the money, the lawyers, the influence. He had a child waiting at home and a fragile life held together by routine. Helping her could cost him his job, his reputation, maybe even his freedom if things went wrong. But as he watched her struggle to stand, confusion and vulnerability etched across her face. Something inside him refused to stay silent. He thought of his child asleep at home, trusting him to come back safe every night, trusting the world not to be cruel. That trust became his anchor. He took the keys gently from her hand, guided her into the passenger seat, and drove her home with the careful focus of a man defusing a bomb. Every red light felt like a test, every passing car like an accusation. His heart pounded not with fear of being caught, but with the weight of responsibility he hadn't asked for yet, couldn't abandon. When he finally got her inside her apartment, made sure she was safe, and left quietly, he didn't expect gratitude. He expected nothing at all. Kindness, he had learned, didn't always come with rewards. The next morning arrived too soon, dragging him back into the harsh rhythm of reality. He woke his child, prepared breakfast, tied shoelaces, and carried the familiar knot of anxiety into work. He half expected security to stop him at the door, a summons waiting on his desk, whispers following him down the hall. Instead, the office looked the same as it always had. Emails piled up, phones rang, and life moved on as if the storm from the night before had never existed. Then she walked in. There was something different about her, something subtle yet undeniable. The sharp edge remained, but beneath it lay a quiet seriousness, as if she were seeing the world through new eyes. When their gazes met, time slowed just enough for him to feel exposed. Every doubt and fear rising to the surface, he looked away first, bracing himself for dismissal or silence. What he didn't expect was acknowledgement. She didn't pretend to forget. In the days that followed, small changes began to ripple through his life. Tasks that once went unnoticed were suddenly recognized. Schedules shifted, offering him flexibility he had never dared to request. The weight he carried alone began, inch by inch, to feel shared. He didn't know what had happened in her life to lead her to that parking lot, but he sensed that night had changed her as much as it had changed him. Kindness had cracked something open in her, something human and raw. As weeks turned into months, the transformation deepened. She listened more, spoke less, and the walls she had built so carefully started to lower. He learned, not through words, but through presence, that power could be lonely, that success often came at the cost of connection. In return, she saw a man who showed up every day, not for ambition or praise, but for love. A single father fighting quietly for stability, dignity, and a future his child could believe in. Life didn't suddenly become easy. Bills still arrived, exhaustion still lingered, and fear never fully disappeared. But something fundamental had shifted. Opportunities emerged where none had existed before, and trust grew in spaces once ruled by distance. The night in the rain became a turning point, a reminder that moments of courage often arrive disguised as inconvenience. Just before we reach the ending, please pause and comment below. Share where you're watching from, or tell us what kindness means to you. Your words matter more than you know. Near the end of the year, as winter crept in and the days grew shorter, he received news that made his hands tremble. A promotion, a raise, and benefits that would finally allow him to breathe without fear of the ground giving way beneath him. It wasn't framed as a favor or a repayment, but as recognition of character, of consistency, of quiet integrity. He went home that night, hugged his child tighter than usual, and felt something close to peace settle in his chest. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that small acts can change lives, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to channel name. Your engagement helps stories like this reach people who are still standing in the rain, unsure which way to turn.